Okay, we saw yesterday, we began a new parak, and we saw that a husband cannot be made for any neder, right? He cannot be made any neder. He could just go ahead and be made for nedarim that are one, inei nefesh, that the woman is having tsar, and two, devarim de beino leveina, things that are different of personal nature between him and her. The Gemara asked the Kasha, when our Mishnah says these are the nedarim that a husband can take off, it only mentioned inei nefesh. Why did it go ahead and not mention beino leveina? So the Gemara concluded because our Mishnah was only listing the nedarim that are mufala oilam, that once the ned is off, it's off. Masha'en came beino leveina, it's off vis-a-vis him. It's not off vis-a-vis if she marries somebody else. The neder is, once he divorces her, his hafara is batal, right? And therefore, the hafara, again, the lumdus of nedarim seems fascinating. It seems that the neder is there, and the neder is there as long as the hafara is there. But when it's la'olam, when it's inei nefesh, it seems to erase it totally. But beino leveino, it seems to be the neder is only bottled vis-a-vis him and her, but the neder is still there, and if he's no longer involved, it would go ahead and be on the next husband. So our Mishnah is not describing such a hafara, only hafara la'olam. That was what we yesterday. Now the challenging daf coming up. It's a short daf, but usually that's a sign of a challenging daf. We did it pretty well in my charusa, so I think I have it a shtickle. So let's look at the Mishnah, guys. It says something funny in the Mishnah. Now, what are the devarim sheish b'inei nefesh? If I would ask you, before you look at the Mishnah, if I would say to you, okay, washing. Let's take, for example, washing. If a woman would make a neder, koinim rechitza alai. It's koinim washing upon me. That zich is the neder. In other words, if you wash, the water, the act of washing is the carbon to you. That's what I would say is inei nefesh. However, the Mishnah doesn't say that. Look what the Mishnah says. Im erchatz, if I wash. Im loy erchatz, if I don't wash. Im iskashet, if I adorn myself. Im loy iskashet, if I don't adorn myself. Guys, when you say im, that's a tanai. What's if? In other words, there's a neder im erchatz. If I wash, there's a neder. So the severity of this daf is trying to figure out what exactly is the neder. Why exactly is the neder? And secondly, why didn't the Mishnah learn the simple case that I told you? Koinim erchatz alai, right? Koinim rechitz alai. Why does it have to say im? Make it totally dependent upon a neder? That doesn't a t'nai. That seems so strange. So that's what the Gemara is going to grapple with. What exactly is the case? And now, be aware there's 4 cases in the Mishnah. There's im erchatz, if I will wash. Lo yerchatz, I won't wash. Iskashet, I will adorn. Lo yischatz, I won't. So there's 4 cases that we have to answer up exactly what it's talking about, okay? In addition, Rabbi Yossi disagreed. Said Rabbi Yossi on the Amid Beis, the top of the Amid Beis, Ein elu nidre inu nefesh. These nedarim that you mentioned are not inu nefesh. And they're very important Lashon, guys. Ein elu nidre nefesh. These are not inu nefesh. The elu hein nidre inu nefesh. What exactly is? And he says, let's just do one. If she would say all the payers are koinim upon me, notice, fellas, no tenai whatsoever, straightforward, all the payers are koinim on me, that would be in nefesh, and the baal can be made for that. Okay? So Rabbi Yossi clearly is disagreeing, and as we're going to see the maskana of the Gemara, it's important to get the maskana now. Rabbi Yossi is of the opinion, Heshi, you're not going to believe this, that rechitza or not washing is not in nefesh. Not washing is not in nefesh. Now, again, it's important to get it out of your mind that you're living in the 21st century and you shower, I don't know how many times a day or a week, right? But in those days, I guess it was not so common. They didn't have indoor plumbing for sure. They didn't have running water for sure. And it seems to be that a person can get by without washing. Or else you're going to have a problem with the Gemara. Or else in your mind, you're going to have problems with the Gemara. So once you change your mindset and be able to focus on the given over here, we're going to see what machloikas between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi, whether rechitza in fact is inu nefesh or not inu nefesh. Okay, with that hakdama, let's begin. Im erchatz. So we're about on ayin tes amid beis. We're about 6 lines up. Heichi kamar. What exactly are you saying? In other words, it was such a cryptic lashon that what? What is inu nefesh if I wash? What does that mean? If I wash is inu nefesh? Adarabba, washing is not inu nefesh. What does that mean? And Sveitens, what's the im? The im is mashmid is a tanai. There's something, if I do this, then that. If I do this, then that. It's mashma, it's conditional. So Ilema the Omar says the Gemara, Koinem Peris Olam Alai. Guys, everyone agrees that Koinem Peris is a inu nefesh, right? Even Rabbi Yossi was Maida. Good, let's get that straight. The neder is clearly a neder of inu nefesh. Everyone agrees, even Rabbi Yossi. So Koinem Peris Olam Alai, Im Erchatz. So here, but it said the following: if I wash, good, then I will not be able to eat all the peiros in the world. Now, where's the inu nefesh, fellas? The inu nefesh is only the neder, not the tanai. How do I know that? Because if inu nefesh if bechitza was a inu nefesh, it would have simply said koinim rechitza alai. It would have simply said it outright. Koinim rechitza alai. When it did say that, but it said im erchatz, it must be that what? It's not inu nefesh. That's very important. The neder itself, everyone holds as inu nefesh, koinim peiris. The tanai l'chora is not inu nefesh, because if you held that rechitza is inu nefesh, make that the neder. Don't make it the tanai. You hear, guys? Make the inu nefesh, make that rechitza the ikar neder. Don't make it a tanai. Ella, when you didn't make it the ikar neder, because you didn't say koinim rechitza alai, it's not inu nefesh. The inu nefesh is the neder of koinim peiris. Read the Gemara if that's the case, right? Lama lo hafara. Why do you have to be made for? Lay sirchatz v'lay sistren peiris olam. Don't wash. And v'lay sistren peiris olam. Allah, it won't be aser. You're telling me, fellas, very important, that the Tanai is not inu nefesh, right? We just established that the Tanai is not inu nefesh. Good? Well, so now, don't go ahead and wash, and you won't have a problem. You won't have a problem. Since the Tanai is not inu nefesh, there's no problem. Don't wash. Pesco, I'm in the middle of share, okay? I'll just give you a bracha.
Sorry.
Yisimcha l'kim tofai menashe, yivrecha ne mishmerecha, yorad ne p'tov l'choknecha, yisa ne p'lacha v'yasim shalom. Have a great Shabbos.
Amen. Have a great Shabbos.
We'll talk. Okay, now, says, just go ahead, since again, the Tanai is not even nefesh, just go ahead and don't keep the Tanai, don't wash, and you won't have a problem. Since you could avoid taking off the neder, despite the neder itself being in a nefesh, but the neder is only engaged because of what? Of a tanai, good, because of a tanai, don't fulfill the tanai, and don't take off the neder. Good. So that's Gemara's kasha. So therefore, lama loy hafara. Why do you have to take it off? Loy sirchatz. Don't fulfill the condition which would go ahead and initiate the neder. Loy sisran peiros olam Allah. One question. The second question. B'hal lemer Rabbi Yossi ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. Right. Dear Rabbi Yossi has to say ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. Dilma rachza. The isu peiros Allah, right? Maybe she ain't elu nidrei. You're saying these are not nidrei nefesh. Maybe she will wash, and then what? It would be asa. Guys, Rabbi Yossi said this case, whatever the case is not inu nefesh, right? But it doesn't make any sense since the neder. Rabbi Yossi is moida by peiros. Is he moida by peiros? Guys, let's look at me. Starting point. One, the neder, two, the tanai. What was the neder? Koinem peiros. Is Rabbi Yossi moida by koinem peiros that's inu nefesh? Get the bobblehead. Yes, he does. Yes, good. Im erchatz, if I'll wash. One question. Why do you have to be made for the neder? Don't wash, since the washing itself is not in nefesh, because we said, or else he would have said, koinim rachtzalai. Don't. Second question. This case, said Rabbi Yossi, is not in nefesh. Said Rabbi Yossi, guys, this case is not in nefesh. But it really is. If she would go ahead and fulfill the condition, would she be able to eat Paris? No. And Rabbi Yossi is saying on that case that you just gave, this is not Inu Nefesh. That would not be a true statement. It is the Inu Nefesh. It's just not initiated, but it's there. So two questions why this can't be the case of the Mishnah of Erchatz. In Erchatz, it can't be that case. It can't be that case. In Erchatz, it cannot be that case because, again, two reasons. One, you would not require Afara since you don't have to wash because it's not Inu Nefesh. And Sveitens, Rabbi Yossi says on this case, it's not Inu Nefesh. In fact, it is Inu Nefesh because Koin and Paris is Inu Nefesh. Okay. The Ella, Amid Aleph, the Ella, Amid Aleph. What's the case? The Omra, Koinim Hanas Rechitza Alai, La'olam, Im Erchatz. So listen, here's the case. If I wash this one time, right? Hobi, I'm in the middle of Shia. Let me just give you a bracha. Yisimcha kimcha prayim menashe yivarecha nei v'shmecha yora adnat l'alecha b'neka yisel net l'locha v'yasem l'chashalom. Shabbos. Do you hear that when I'm talking to him? You hear that? Okay. Anyway, so why don't we just change, guys? We changed the neder again. My fingers. This is I don't know. Without my fingers, I couldn't say share. Right. The neder in the first case was Paris, good. The neder in the second case is Rechitza. I won't be able to wash forever if I wash im erchatz if I wash once. Good. That's the case. That's the case. What did you gain now in the case, guys? Clearly, then Rechitza is inu nefesh. So not only is the neder inu nefesh, then the Tanai is also inu nefesh. So you can't say don't keep the condition and don't be mefer. If it's in an nefesh, you have to be mefer. Okay, so now and because of this, he has to go ahead and be made for the neder. Because of this, he has to go ahead and be made for the neder. Why? Why does he have to be made for the neder? The hechi tabel. What should he do? The hechi tabel. What should he do? Tirchatz, if to wash, mistra hana rechitza Allah, which is inu nefesh. Loiser chatz, if you don't wash, islay nivla, then she'll become disgusting. So therefore, obviously what? Right? Obviously, you have no choice. So that's the case of the Mishlei to the Chachamim. The Elu Ketzad, that's the case of inu nefesh im erchatz. Again, we have four cases: erchatz, lo erchatz, kishut, like kishut, right? What's the case of erchatz? If I wash, I will never be able to wash again. If I wash, I'll never be able to wash again. Now, obviously, washing now, if you made that the ikin neder, is a inu nefesh. Not only is the neder inu nefesh, the tanoi is also inu nefesh. So what are you going to tell the person? What are you going to tell the person? Wash. If you wash, you're finished. Don't wash, then it's nivel. So that's the case according to the Chachamim. What about Rabbi Yossi who disagrees? Rabbi Yossi savar efshar delay rachtzul l'navel. Says Rabbi Yossi, it's possible delay rachtzul l'navel. In other words, don't wash, don't take off the neder, don't wash, and you'll be and l'navel lechashinon, and you're not chayish for what for nivel. So that's the machlokes. Now, according to this, it would appear to be that they all hold that the neder is inu nefesh, and the shaila is whether we're chayish for nivel or not. That Rabbi Yossi would say the following: Rabbi Yossi would say, "I agree with you that rechitza is inu nefesh. I disagree with you whether we're chayish for nivel or not. So therefore, since the condition does not have to be fulfilled, it's not. Now, the problem with this, guys, is in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi said on those words, this is not inu nefesh. The way we're learning now, it is inu nefesh, and it's a chasar and a different problem. That's the problem with the case, guys. Says the Gemara inside. If you're telling me the case is where the neder was not to wash forever, and the Tanai was if I wash once, listen hachi, learn the following. Rabbi Yossi says, Tanai ze ein bayin nefesh. Guys, what's the problem over here? It's not the neder, it's the Tanai. So don't say, look at back at the Amid base. Today's Amid base, we started, the top line. Amr Rabbi Yossi, ein elu nidrei inu nefesh. It doesn't say the Tanai is not inu nefesh. It says the neder is not inu nefesh. The way you're learning now, it's not the neder, it's the Tanai. So therefore, that can't be the case. That can't be the case. So it says the Gemara, so what is the case? Ella, the Amra, Hanos Rechitza alai la'olam. The Hana of Rechitza is asur upon me forever. Okay, you didn't change the neder, that's the same neder. What did you change? Im erchatz hayoim. If I wash today. In other words, don't wash today, and everything is good. That l'charu will be the easy way out. What are the chachamim chadesh? That even one day, that the husband that she won't wash is nivel to the husband, and therefore you could take off the neder. And Rabbi Yossi says one day is no big spritz. Let one day go by. Says the Gemara, Eladama Hanas Rechitza Laila Oilam Emerchatz Hayoim. Rabbi Yossi Sava Nivel the Chayoim Aloishmei Nivel. The nivel of one day is not considered nivel. The nivel of one day is not considered nivel. Now, the MS guys, Rabbi Yossi, as we're going to see, he holds that Rechitza is not. Don't mistakenly think that he says Rechitza. Right now you think Hol Machlokes is whether it's nivel or not. And then he holds that Rechitza is Inu Nefesh. He doesn't hold it's Inu Nefesh. Hitaka doesn't hold it's Inu Nefesh. And the Chiddush over here is that it's not, you would say, if you would have said that it's Inu Nefesh, you would have said, well, then it's then Dvarim Beino Leveino would be okay. It's a very fine kasha over here. Let's do the Ran. Rabbi Yossi Sava, it's about 2, 4, 6, 8, about 11 lines up on Pei Amud Aleph. Rabbi Yossi Sava, Nivel L'Chadiyum V'Lo Shmei Nivel. Hilkach Lo Yofer. Therefore, you don't take off the neder. The Matzi Mukmi Nafsha Chadiyuma. She could hold herself back for one day and not wash. Berechitza. The Sulei Mitzraba. And therefore, since the Tanai wasn't fulfilled, the neder will not be engaged. Here's the kasha of the day. And you can't ask over here, listening to Rabbi Yossi Omer, in other words, why don't you ask the same question as you did before? That you're moided that you're moided the concern is in the Tanai. So just like before you asked that you should list the Tanai as the problem, say over here also the Tanai is the problem. Why go ahead? Why over here is that not a problem? Continues the Ran. The Iabitani Hachi, if you would have said that, the Tanai, Mashma ine nefesh hud lehave, alva devarim shebeino lebeino have. You would have said that ine nefesh is not a problem, but devarim beino is a problem because not washing, you would say, is something beino lebeino. That's a problem. The holishna hachi mashma kidemukach l'kamon, as we'll see, ine nefesh is not a problem, but beino is. And therefore, Ella, what do you have to say? Nivel, even one day, so in other words, here's Pshat. Why don't you say over here the following? Why don't you say over here, right? The listening, we should have learned that what it's speaking where the Tanai is the problem. If you would have said that Tanai is Eichel Nefesh, you would say what in nefesh it's not. You would have said devarim beino it is, and that's not true, and that would not be true, and therefore you couldn't say that. Okay, let's continue on. So right now we're holding. What's our case? The case of the Mishnah is Ketzad. What's the case of in nefesh? Im erchatz. What does im erchatz mean? That all rechitza la'olam is asafami im erchatz hayoim. If I go ahead and do it today, says the Chachamim, even one day is nivel. Says Rabbi Yossi, One day is not nivel, and therefore you don't take it off. Okay. Says the Gemara in the Amud Beis. Shanisa im erchatz. You went ahead and you answered im erchatz. In other words, guys, we have 4 cases, right? Erchatz, lo erchatz, kisha, lo kisha. Good. You answered one case. Im erchatz and lo erchatz. Hechi im erchatz kama. Im lo erchatz hechi dami. What would the case be? The Nedarim im lo erchatz, that would be a machloikis between Rabbi Yossi and the Chachamim. What would the case of im lo erchatz? What would that be? Hechi dami. If she said tistar hano rechitza la'olam alai, that the hano of rechitza should be asur on me forever, im lo erchatz hayoim. In other words, that would be the opposite case. The case we're learning now is if I wash today, it's asur, and the answer is if I don't wash today. Good, that would be the parallel case. If I don't wash today, I can't wash forever. Says the Gemara, lama le'afara. Why would you have to be made for the neder? How do you pronounce this? Sische. Let her wash. Guys, erchatz, again, case number 1, if I wash today, I can't wash forever. Hayoim. If I wash today, hayoim, I can't wash forever. What would case number 2 be? If I don't wash hayoim, then I'm also forever. So why do you have to be made for the neder? Wash, and therefore great. You initiated the neder and everything is button. You wouldn't need afara. Get rid of it. You wouldn't have to get rid of it. Get rid of it. So I'm Rabbi Yehuda. So what's the case? The Omra Hanos Rechitza Alayla Oilam Im Echatz B'mei Mishra. Okay, 1 second. You just changed. Initially, you thought Im Echatz is in normal water, so that's not eating nefesh. What about I won't be able to wash for the rest of my life if I don't wash today in linen water? They used to soak flax in water, and it seems to be a dover moyes ad ma'od. It's masriach. It stinks. It's like it's like in a putrid piece of water. Now that clearly is what is in the nefesh. Okay, but anyway, so therefore you have to take off the neder, right? Im le'erchatz. So why are you going to say go ahead and don't wash? Wash. No, you can't say wash. That's in the nefesh to go ahead and jump into putrid water. So therefore he takes off the neder according to the Chachamim. Good, take off the neder. Says the Gemara, the kavase diktani. Now case number 4. What would case number 4 be? Demleis kashet. Now, if I don't adorn myself, demleis kashet what beneft lichlechu. Fellas, if case number 2 is putting myself in putrid water, then case number 4 would be adorning myself with putrid makeup, right? That's the parallel. But that's not kishut. That's not kishut. Kishut, by definition, is adorning and beautifying, not making things ma'os. So in the lashon, it doesn't make sense that this could be the case. I'm having a problem with case number 2. I figured out case number 1. I figured out case number 3. 1 and 3 are the same, right? I'm also to go ahead and take and I'm also all the washing in the world upon me if I wash. I'm also all the washing in the world for me if I go ahead and put on makeup, right? That's the case. Good. What's case number 2? If I don't wash in horrible water, then I won't be able to wash. So what's case number 4? If I don't put horrible things on my face, I won't be able to wash. Putting horrible things on your face does not fulfill the word of adornment. Washing in disgusting water is washing, because by definition, rechitza is washing. It's disgusting. That's not a stereotype of rechitza. But putting horrible stuff on your face clearly is what? Contradictory to the term of kishut. So therefore, because of that problem, we don't know pshat in loy erchatz. So we have pshat in case 1 and 3. We don't have pshat in case 2 and 4. Good. Says the Gemara, okay, let's get pshat 2 and 4. Let's work this out. Amar of Yehuda, the Amra, Hanos rechitza la'olam alai. Good. Imerchatz. Take out the word hayon. Take out the word hayon. In other words, this is the original case we thought, and until we asked the kasha on Rabbi Yossi. Again, the kasha was then you should learn the Tanai, not the Ikaneda. Okay, we'll see. The Ran will address that. A second thing, ushvu shlei erchatz hanos kish. All right, and I make a shvua that I won't wash. So two separate cases. One, a case that's contingent upon a tanai, and two, a case that's not. Just have to excuse myself for 1 second. So we just changed gears, and we're saying the following. In the 4 cases, 1 and 3 are speaking on a tanai, and 2 and 4 are shvuas. Case number 1, according to the Ran, you make a neder that I won't wash forever if I wash today. Case number 3, I won't wash forever if I put on makeup today. Case number 2, a shvua, straightforward, no tanai that I won't wash. Case number 4, a shvua that I won't go ahead and put on makeup. That I won't put on makeup. Those are the cases. Now, the Gemara just says the Gemara, Amalei Ravina l'Ravashi, Hi Elun Nedarim Shvuas mi boile. If you're telling me cases 2 and 4 are not speaking about Nedarim, they're speaking about Shvuas, you should say it outright. Say what? Elu Nedarim Shvuas. So Amalei Tani Elu Nedarim Shvuas. Go back to the beginning of the parak, guys. Go back to the beginning of the parak. Ayin Tesam and Aleph. Right? Look here. Let's begin. We're beginning the parak again. Ve'elu nedarim u'shvuas shu mefer. Devarim sheyesh behem ini nefesh. Right? In merchatz, that's your neder. In loyachatz, there's your shvua. In miskashet, there's your neder. In loyaskashet, there's your shvua. That's the pshat. That's the pshat in the Mishnah according to our Gemara now. Okay, so we little fine tuning, editing in the Mishnah, and everything's working out. Back in the Gemara, Fred the Gemara, everybody's saying, "Shvua nami hainu nedarim." Right? What's your kasha? Right? You don't even have to change the gersa, guys. Simply saying elu nedarim includes shvuas. Why? Because sometimes we call shvuas nedarim. Ditnan. This is going back to the beginning of the Masechta. You made the sugi of yadais, guys. Remember the yad? It's like a handle. If you say something. So kinidrei rishayim neder benazer ubekarben ubeshvua. Let's say a nazir is passing in front of him, and he says kinidrei rishayim. He's a nazir. Let's say there's an animal in front of him, and he says kinidrei rishayim. It's a carbon. Ushvua. Let's say there's a piece of bread in front of him, and he says kinidrei rishayim. Then the bread is asa. So therefore, you see that it's called bread is asa is a neder. It's an issa cheftza. So you see what shvua is called a neder. That's okay. Okay. So it comes out like this. A very fun one. There's 2 questions that beg to go ahead and if I were to wake you up in the middle of the night, in a million years, you wouldn't come up with this shot in the Mishnah. One's a shvua, one's a tanai. Simplistically, I would have said the following: a husband, the pasuk says, "Lanos nefesh." He can only take off one that's in nefesh. So list the following. Forget them. Okay, let's pick a universal thing. Let's stay away from rechitza. Good. Let's pick a universal thing. Koinem peris la'olam alai. Stop. You got a neder. It's in nefesh. She has to eat peris. All the peris in the world are rasa. Go ahead and matter it. Why did the Mishnah say that? Why the Mishnah is telling you a chiddush? Why did the Mishnah have to come up with this unique din, guys, of what? Of im. Cases 1 and 2. And then why do you have to mutzich to say it's speaking about a shvua cases 2 and 4? 1 and 3 is the neder, and 2 and 4. What's it trying to teach me? So be aware, there's a tremendous chiddush over here. We're going to do it in the Ran. It's a tremendous chiddush. If you make a neder that's conditional, if the condition is not fulfilled, do you have a neder? Guys, listen to my words. If you make a neder contingent upon a condition, if the condition is not fulfilled, do you have a neder? Isn't it a chiddush to say you can be made for a neder that's not a neder? You're being made for a neder that possibly could be, but isn't. That's the chiddush. The Mishnah chose to tell me the case of im erchatz, that all the water of the world is usher upon me im erchatz, right? Is im erchatz good? It's all usher upon me im erchatz. If I wash, you haven't washed yet. Like the chachamim, you could be mefer. What's the chiddush? You're being mefer a neder that's not chal yet. That's the huge chiddush. what's the chiddush of Rabbi Yossi? Shvua shalei erchatz. You know what the chiddush is? That it's not inu nefesh. That rechitza is not inu nefesh. That's the chiddush. Good. So cases 1 and 3 are the chiddush of the chachamim that you can be made for a neder that's not chal. Cases 2 and 4 is the chiddush of Rabbi Yossi that even though kishur, I guess, is not inu nefesh and rechitza is not inu nefesh. That's the chiddush. Now, why did the Ran change the case, guys? The last case we said was the following: Kainim rechitza alai, if I wash today. And the whole machloikas was nivel about today or not. So we said the word, right? We couldn't learn that we had to say, because of Rabbi Yossi, Hayoim, we had a kasha. So why didn't we ask the question? Then it's not the ikin neder, it's the tanai. And we said, because then you would have said dvarim beino leveino. Like the Ran, it's very good now. Once you tell me that the cases is speaking of 2 and 4, speaking that chiddush Rabbi Yossi is over there in 2 and 4, you don't have to say the case of Hayom anymore. You simply just have to say everything is usher in the world upon me. All the rechitz is usher upon me if I wash, and you can take away the word Hayom because you have the chiddush Rabbi Yossi in cases 2 and 4. Okay, let's see it in the Ran. Let's see. I just spoke out the Ran. Let's see the Ran inside, guys. The Ran is Dibra Maskal, Pei on the base, Ela do Omra Hanos Rechitza Laila Olam, Im Erchatz Shvua Shlei Erchatz. Now, notice the Ran did not say Hayoim. He didn't say if I wash today. V'hashta, says the Ran, Leitzricha lo ukme b'oimeres Im Erchatz Hayoim. The last ukimta that we said on the Amid Aleph, that it's all the Rechitz is asa forever. If I wash today, you don't have to say that anymore. Ella b'oimeres Im Erchatz Stama. You said if I wash, and you didn't say Hayoim. The Lo'olam Mashma, the Tanakama Sava, the Yesh Ba'ini Nefesh. Because when it says the Olam, that it's Asa forever, it's Masber according to the Tanakama, there is Ilu Nefesh. Rabbi Yossi Savar, the less Ba'ini Nefesh. Rabbi Yossi says that Rechitz is not Ilu Nefesh. Again, I told you, Lamaskana guys, Rabbi Yossi is of the opinion that Rechitz is not Ilu Nefesh. The Lekal and Mifrach Hashta Kidabachinan, you'll ask the same question. Listen, Rabbi Yossi Yomer Tanai Zeh Ein Ba'ini Nefesh. Right? You can't say that why? The less beit tanai. In other words, what are you gonna say? Fred the Gemara Kasha, how could you say the case is speaking with its tanai of inu nefesh? Right? Why the problem is the tanai? The tanai has nothing to do with it. What's the raya? Because cases 2 and 4 is speaking without a tanai. It's speaking straightforward. So therefore, logistically, you couldn't mention the word Tanai, even though it's a kasha Rabbi Yossi, but it's not a kasha why we enlisted. I'll tell you why we enlisted. Because the latter cases 2 and 4, there was no Tanai. Guys, look at me. On the Amid Aleph, cases 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all speaking about Nedarim, not a shvu at all, right? And the case of Lo Erchatz was the converse of the case of Erchatz. If I wash today, I can't wash forever. If I don't wash today, I can't wash forever. That's what we thought, right? So therefore, you could ask the question to learn if the problem is the Tanai. List the Tanai of I argue on the Tanai. Rabbi Yossi would say I don't argue on the Ikka Neder. On the Tanai, I have a problem. But now that you're telling me that cases 2 and 4 are not speaking about Tanai at all, we couldn't have asked the question, why didn't you learn listening Tanai on Ikka Nefesh? Because there's 2 cases that have no Tanai whatsoever. Okay? There's 2 cases that have no Tanai whatsoever, therefore I can learn it. Okay, let's continue. V'nira be'enai, de lahochi lachtinu tana lahani trei gavni. Now the question of the hour is, why didn't you learn a plain Pashit Geret case of Koinim Rechitza Alai? Or koinim peris alai? Why did you make it contingent upon a condition? Right? That's the question of the hour. The Ran comes to answer it. I said it once. I answered it, and the Ran will say it. Tonight, hani trei gavni, 2 cases. Cases 1 and 3 are a chiddush, and cases 2 and 4 are a chiddush. Lashmina rebusa, the Rabbanon, the Rabbi Yossi. You can hear a chiddush according to the Rabbanon, and you can hear a chiddush according to Rabbi Yossi. According to the Rabbanon, the afal pi shleichala neder legamri. even though the neder was not chal completely because the Tanai wasn't fulfilled yet. So once the Tanai wasn't fulfilled, potentially it could be there, but right now it's not. Says the Chachamim Mefer. Says the Chachamim, you could take it off. Maybe I made for the neder. And that's why we learned the case of 1 and 3 contingent upon a condition to tell me, despite the fact that it's not chal, you still can take it off. Cases 2 and 4. What's the chiddush? The afagav the chayil mehashta, even though it's chal now. The chiddush is leimatzi meifa dibrachitz Rabbi Yosi leka inay klal, and the chiddush is to tell me that like Rabbi Yosi, there's no inay at all. The Ramban, the Ran, beautifully, succinctly takes a difficult Gemara, puts it all together. Let's recap, okay? Let's recap. We have a machlokes and a mishnah between Rabbi Yosi and the Chachamim. What's considered inay nefesh or not? Everyone agrees koinem peiros is inay nefesh. There seems to be a disagreement by koinem rechitza. Now, there seems to be, there is. We have 4 cases. What? A case that, in some case, imerchatz, lo yerchatz, iskashet, lo iskashet. Cases 1 and 2, we're coming lemaskana, where you said, this koinem rechitza oilam, I won't wash forever. If what? If I wash. I won't go ahead and wash forever if I put on makeup. That's cases 1 and 3. What's the chiddush over there? The Chacham said, Yefer, could take it off the neder. Take off neder, what neder? There is no neder. You didn't fulfill the Tanai. Tremendous chiddush. You could take off a neder that potentially could be there. A potential neder being in nefesh. Cases 2 and 4. What are cases 2 and 4? Lo yerchatz, lo yiskashet is speaking straightforward. She makes a shua, I won't wash. She makes a shua, lo yiskashet. Says the Chacham, of course you could take it off. It's in nefesh. Says the Rabbi Yosi, no, it's not in nefesh, and that's the chiddush Rabbi Yosi, that what you think is in nefesh is not in nefesh. Geschmack, guys, good. Okay, now let's go weiter. A side point. Okay, Heshi mentioned yesterday something about Yom Kippur. Heshi's Yom Kippur. The hardest thing for Heshi on Yom Kippur is not being able to take a shower. Eating is a halbatzar, but I know him well, and the fact that he can't wash is the most difficult thing for him. It says by Yom Kippur, Pasuk of Tes. Ki kol nefesh asher lo su'uneh. Any nefesh that does not go ahead and be mis'ana themselves, lo su'uneh, they don't go through the inuyim, be'etzem hayom hazeh, v'nich v'samei anecha. And then it says, v'chol nefesh asher taseh kol malacha be'etzem hayom hazeh, v'avadati es nefesh ahimi kerev amam. And any nefesh that does malacha on this day, v'avadati es nefesh. So the juxtaposition of the inuyim to v'avadati es nefesh is going to teach me an interesting halacha, that despite the fact that there are 5 inuyim on Yom Kippur that you're not able to do, achil shtia, rechitza, anointing yourself, and tashar shamita, the only ones that would carry a death penalty is achila. We're going to see achil and shtia that would carry a death penalty, but mashma rechitza would not. The Gemara's kasher is like Rabbi Yosi that it's not Rabbi Yosi that it's not inui. Let's see the kasher. The Gemara kasher. So Amar Rabbanan rechitza isbu in nefesh kilei rachza. The Chachamim, not Rabbi Yosi, the Chachamim really hold. The Chachamim really hold, not Rabbi Yosi. The Chachamim really hold that by ini nefesh is if you don't wash is ini nefesh or minu. Afa pisha asa bekulan, even though it's asa all the five inuyim. Ein oinish kares ela ba'oichel b'shaisa v'oisem alach l'vad. The 5 inuyim achila shtia doing halacha and anointing himself and anointing himself, I think is b'chal shtia and the tashar samita and doing the 3 with achila shtia and oisem halacha b'vad, but not washing. If you wash some kippur, you would not be chayav kares. The amit kiloi rochza ika ini b'yom kippurim. If you're going to say according to the chachamim that if you don't wash, there's inu yom kippur ki rochatz l'chayav kares. If not washing is if washing not washing is considered inui, right? That you're not supposed to wash, it's inui nefesh. Mashma, when you wash, you're being over, you're not being misana yourself. So why, like the chachamim, in fact, why are you not chayiv kares on Yom Kippur if you wash? Kasha, I made mistakes. Not like basically the kasha is like the chachamim. Amar Rava says Rava, hachamim yani dekrava, hachamim yani dekrava. You have to look at the context. Gabi Yom Kippurim dechsev hanu es nafshay sechem. You should be ma'ani yourself. Milsa di yoda inuyeha hashta. It's mashma something that you know the inui now. Rechitza lo yoda inui. Fellas, when you don't eat on Yom Kippur, do you feel the inui right away? Yeah, not eating. But by the time the day is finished, we're all kind of ready to go. Yeah. Not taking a shower on Yom Kippur. Do you feel the inui right away? So the context is on Yom Kippur, it's true like the Chachamim. Not washing is inui nefesh, but it only as it gradually goes over time that you're not washing is the inui. But for one day, that's not inui. And Memela, you would not be chayiv kares if you go ahead and wash on Yom Kippur. What about Nedarim? What does it say about Nedarim? Right. And hash the gamin Nedarim dechsiv kol neder v'kol shuas iser lanos nefesh. What does lanos nefesh mean? Milsa da asila de inui, right? A milsa that will lead to inui. Anything that will lead to inui is considered a neder that the husband could take off. Since washing could lead to inui, therefore the husband could take it off. So in your kasha, like the chachamim, if washing is considered inui, why don't you get kares on Yom Kippur? And the answer is, by Yom Kippur, the inui has to be miyad, immediately. And you don't feel the inui of rechitza, you feel the inui of achila, shtia, you don't feel the inui of rechitza. We don't care about the immediacy of the inui, we just care about the fact there is inui. And since it could lead to inui, by not washing, you could take it off. Okay, it's a good place to stop. Harold, do you have a question?
So why don't we say that not wearing shoes on Yom Kippur, that it's inui, it should not just be an avera, and because you're not chayiv kares then for that either. But you should say you have inui right away by not wearing a leather.
Look at the Ran. The Ran says the pasuk vavadati. It has to be. It's something that is a dover of it. Took a look. The Ran quotes a Gemara. I think it's a Peidal and Yuma. You'll see the rest yourself.